Alright, well, welcome back to the Superlite coupe build. In this video we are going to mount the pedal assembly in the chassis, so stay tuned. This will be a relatively short video, but for the sake of completeness, last video we mounted the seats in the car. Now we'll mount the pedal plate in the car and then mount the pedal assembly on top of that. So what you're looking at is the plate that is an adjustable plate. So I've got a number of mounting points for the pedal assembly so I can bring them further and back. And then just like the seats, I have a template. That plywood template keeps this plate at a 1.5 degree angle so it lines up with the seat and lines up with the steering column. Okay, so I'm going to mark up the floor pan with the little blue die, and then we'll use a counter punch and then we'll mark and drill these holes. Alright, so we've got the blue die in the area where the holes are, and here's the pedal mounting plate. Now I've got a set of these transfer punches, and these are threaded holes. In hindsight, I probably should have kept these at like a small 1/8 of an inch pilot hole, held it in place and then just drilled it through, but I wasn't thinking that far in advance. And I always want to get these holes really in the center of where they need to be. I don't like a big gap and then hide it with the washer. I want this secured as well as possible. So I've got these transfer punches, but this place isn't all that thick. That plate's not all that thick, and you can see it's easy to have a false sense of security with the transfer punch and think you're holding it straight, but it's really a little cockeyed, and before you know it, this one's off a little bit and this one's off and that one's off, and then you have to oversize the holes to get it to all match up. So what I did was I found a drill in my stock that's pretty close. I mean, ideally I would have liked to have a little smaller one, but this is like 0.4 of a millimeter larger than the transfer punch. And this just, this will just basically ensure that the transfer punch is straight up and down, but it could be a hair, to the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scribe and scribe these holes out, and then I'll use the transfer punch and make a mark. And if that mark is in the center of the hole I scribed out, then I'm good to go. And then I'll make a pilot hole, and then I'll drill a little bit of a larger hole. Okay, so that's the way we're going to do it. All right, there we go. We got the first hole in. Came out pretty good. Now I'm going to do the front 2 holes one at a time, and then I'll leave this last rear hole for last. It's just easier to see and easier to center. All right, so we march on. All right, there we go. Second hole matched up perfect. Actually, I didn't need to thread these in from the bottom. They found the holes, that's good enough. I'll do the last 2. And then what we'll do is we'll mount the pedals. I'm going to screw the seats in, although I drilled the holes, I didn't mount them. And then we're going to sit in the car and see how it all lines up. That's going to be exciting. Okay, all right. All right, we got the panel in. And you can see the screws are a little too tall. All the screw holes lined up pretty well. That top left one over there, though, was a little off. And normally what I would do is I would use a drill and just, drill it out to the side a little bit, but I got this carbide bit for my Dremel, and this gives you much better control. So if you ever need to widen out one side of a hole just a little bit, that tool works great. But anyway, you can see this is installed. Now we're going to take the pedal assembly that's sitting over there, and we'll put that in, and then I'll hop in the car and we'll see how it all feels. Okay, well, we got the car on the ground. I'm getting ready to hop in for the first time. It's going to be exciting. There's the pedal assembly attached to the mounting plate. It turned out the angle was only about a half a degree or maybe a degree at the most. It turned out the template I used was not a full 1.5 degree template. And I think I did that, I made that a while ago. I didn't want too much of an angle between the pedal and the power brake booster actuator rod. So I have a slight bit of angle on there, but it's not as much as the seat. I don't think it's gonna matter. But anyway, I'm gonna hop in the car and let's see how it all feels. All right, well, after months of planning and a lot of work and a lot of consternation, we finally have the steering column in the car, the steering wheel attached to the steering column. I've got the pedals located. We've got the new tilt seats mounted, and I have to say it all feels really good. I mean, here's sort of my vantage point. You can see my reflection in the driver binnacle, but it's pretty much straight on with the driver binnacle. The steering wheel is a good distance away from me. I don't feel like it's in my chest. I really like the distance. Let's see, what else? As far as the pedals go, I mean, there's the gas pedal. It's at a pretty good distance. My leg's not too bent and it's not straight out. Got the brake pedal there, and then the clutch is right there. So I don't, have to really do a lot of gyrations with my legs to get on the pedals. And I do have size 13 feet, so that was a little bit of a concern early on. But all in all, it feels good. These tillets, I will say, are really comfortable. I just wasn't sure, but I threw my arms up with the factory seats and all those modifications, and I really like the tillet seats. All right, so I think we're going to call it a wrap. Always appreciate you watching. Take care.